Hi, you guys. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming. We are so excited that we get to do a live podcast with TINX to celebrate the launch of our new product, Constipation. So this is a big moment for us, and we're so excited that all of you guys came and that you could be a part of it, TINX.
Thank you guys all for, whoa, why is mine so loud?
Is yours louder than mine?
Is mine loud? Okay, well, thank you for having me. Thank you guys all for coming. I'm so excited. Oh, sorry. I always think about the Princess Diaries, you know, in the part where she's like, princesses sit like this. And I always sit like this, so every time I'm like, a princesses sit like this. So I'm adjusted now. Let's chat.
You're good to go.
I'm good to go to talk about constipation.
Yeah,
and everything else.
Talk shit, you guys. That's what we're doing today. Before we get started, I wanted to take a second to thank our sponsor, Settle. So you guys know that we're a startup, and for us to have options for non-dilutive financing is so important. So we actually use Settle to finance all our inventory for the launch of Constipation. So thank God for them, because we wouldn't be here otherwise. So thank you, Settle. Okay, with that, we're just gonna kick it off. And the first thing I wanted to do was ask you, what advice would you give to yourself at 25?
Oh my gosh. So I would say, don't worry, first of all, because I was a very worried 25-year-old. I mean, I'm a very worried 33-year-old, but the things that I was worrying about at 25, it kind of all figures itself out. So that's what I would firstly say. I would say stop chasing boys who don't like you, because that was a big theme of my 20s, was just like actually chasing men who didn't care about me, didn't like me. And the real kicker was that I didn't like them either, but it felt like that was the game and like I needed to have a boyfriend. I would say keep hanging out with your friends, keep investing in your female friendships, because they are the thing that is going to carry you through, and you are going to need those friends and they are going to need you, and those friendships are the through line. I would say try a little bit harder at work, because I wasn't trying that hard at work at that time. And I would say maybe do a little bit more skincare, because I was kind of rough on the old skin at that time. There's a lot of like just sleeping in the makeup and, you know, heavy nights of drinking and then just going right on out. Yeah, that's what I would say.
It turned out okay.
It all turns out okay. It really does, yeah.
But I do think that worrying in your 20s, like I remember when I graduated from college, I was constantly panicked that like I didn't know my path. And also I was someone who switched careers a lot to end up where I am. It's crazy the pressure you put on yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I really do think that, not to generalize, but I think that a lot of women put so much pressure on themselves in their 20s, and it just adds more stress. Like, we have enough stress on us as women in society. As a young woman, you have so much pressure, and then we add on even more pressure to look a certain way, to get a certain job, to have a certain partner, to, you know, just the optics of everything. It's exhausting. So it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of worry, and you're still so young at 25. That's crazy. I mean, I feel young now, and I'm, you know, however many years older. So at 25, I think it's just about quietening the noise and really like listening and paying attention to what makes you feel happy and who makes you feel happy.
Have you ever been asked the question like, oh, if you could go back and change something, what would you do? Because my answer for that is always, I would change nothing.
I agree with you. Even though I definitely had some extremely dark periods of my life, it all leads you to where you are going. And if you, I'm an optimist. Like I am a person who tries to find meaning in everything, for better or worse. And I think when you look back, you realize, oh, I needed to go through those flop eras to get to where I am now. And you know, I think it's a good way to be, because if you're going through a hard time, or say you hate your job, something in the job that you hate, you can use in the job that you eventually love. And I know it doesn't feel like that at the time, but it actually always works out that way if you open your eyes and your heart to that way of thinking.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Okay, so I want to talk about the hardest thing about getting successful so quickly and so publicly, because I think getting successful on the internet with so many people watching, it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, I first and foremost, I'm so grateful. I truly feel so lucky that I get to do my dream job and for all the opportunities that I've had from this job. I mean, I definitely got really swept up in things. I live in LA. Like, I was an influencer at the height of TikTok influencer culture. I would be lying if I said I didn't get swept up in, the first time that I got invited to a cool party or like a really famous person followed me on Instagram. I was so psyched on that. And sometimes it's hard to remember what really matters. And I feel lucky again that I have those friends that I was talking about from before that have stayed with me through everything and were there for when I kind of like woke up and was like, whoa, like, what am I doing? This is an intense LA vibe I'm in right now, and I kind of need to like step away. And it's very cool to be invited to all those parties, but ultimately, it sounds cheesy, but that's not what makes you happy.
If someone has had trouble kind of having those sorts of female friendships and they are looking to start making friends, what advice would you give them?
I always tell my community and my listeners that vulnerability is like a cheat code to friendship. And I know it can be hard because we've all had experiences where we've been burned by people before, like especially girls. I get that. But if you are vulnerable, you will get vulnerability back. And especially with women, that is kind of how we bond. I saw this really heartbreaking TikTok. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. I think it was this week. This girl, and she was like, "This is why I'm not, that
I
one."
saw it, the
yeah,
girl with,
and
like,
she was
I
like,
don't-
"This
yeah.
is why I'm not going to make any more female friends, like, or why I'm not trying to be friends with girls." And then she started listing off the reasons, and she was like, because the pretty ones, like, they have this and they have that. And I was like, that's interesting. So you're categorizing girls into pretty and not pretty, girls who have boyfriends and don't have boyfriends. And I was like, the call is coming from inside the house, girl. But no, I'm kidding. But what I wanted to say to her, if I could say something to that creator, is like, you are closed off. Like, you're not really being vulnerable, and you're not opening yourself up to the incredible power that is female friendships. I mean, I go on and on about it. Like, I will not shut up about female friendship, but it's for a reason. It's because it's literally saved my life at some points. And there is so much power when women reduce scarcity mindset and really learn to lean on one another and really learn to ask each other for help. And we are just now, in my opinion, getting to a place where we can do that. And that's why there's so much energy and power around girlhood right now. And it's the year of the woman, and Barbie, and, Beyonce's tour. Like, this is all happening for a reason. It's because we are starting to talk to each other and harness that power that we all have.
Do you feel like it takes a certain amount of confidence in yourself to kind of let your guard down and be that vulnerable?
I actually don't. I think that one of the things that you can be vulnerable about is not feeling confident. So sometimes those have been my biggest bonding points with some of my friends, is to be like, me going to them and saying, I feel so shit about myself this week. Like, I feel like I fucked up at work, or I feel really ugly this week, or like, I'm having trouble dating. Like, you don't have to be confident to be vulnerable. And I really think that it's just the openness that can bond you with another human being.
So you moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the tangible ways that you were able to kind of make friends and fit into a new city, because I think when someone moves to a new city, they can put a lot of pressure on themselves, and it can be a really tough thing.
Yeah. Well, I always say, moving to a new city, you have to give yourself a year, which sounds like such a big amount of time, but I've moved so many times, and honestly, even if you love it, it takes a full year to get your bearings. It takes a full year to make friends and find your coffee spot and figure out the traffic patterns and find your gym and find your community and everything. Like, you have to give it a year. It can be very overwhelming. Honestly, I don't know if I should say this, but like, the truth is, the fastest way to make friends is to go out, because like, nothing bonds you like a night out with someone. I'm just being honest. I mean, look, you can go the workout class route too, but it might take a little longer. It just depends how lucky you are. But no, I think doing what you love. Like, if you love to run, join a running club. If you love to work out, do that. If you love to go out like me, go out. You will meet other friends at the bar who love to drink and have fun.
I also think saying yes to things more at the beginning. Like, we moved 100%. To LA, like, what, Nish, 3 years ago now? 2.5, whatever. Like, it's pretty recent. And at the beginning, you just have to say yes so much.
Yes, 100%. All you need is like one friend, and then they're like, "Oh, my friend's having a barbecue. Do you want to come?" And you're like, "Just go." Like, even if you're in sweatpants, just throw on an outfit and go. You know, oh, there's some event, even like this one. You know, you're in a new city, you see an event, just go. You're gonna meet a friend there, and then you're gonna go to workout class together, and it won't be as scary, and it builds on itself. So yes, I agree. Say yes.
Talk to me about confidence and developing confidence.
I think that confidence is such a buzzword right now, and it's on the internet a lot. Like, oh, you got to be confident. You got to be confident. Building true, deep confidence takes a lot of work, in my opinion. It's not something that anyone can bestow upon you. It's not something that you can buy through buying, I don't know, fancy clothes or whatever. It is to be truly, deeply confident in yourself is to know yourself. And I still work on it. Like, I don't even think that I'm fully confident at this point in my life, but I've done certain things that help me be more confident. I think that reading makes you more confident. I personally have found that it really helps me. I think that being grateful and really practicing gratitude in a really specific and pointed way can help you be more confident. I think doing things that you're good at, whether that's a hobby, whether that's a part of your job, and really noticing it and saying, oh, no, like, I'm actually really good at, I don't know, presenting at my job. Like, I did a really good job on that, and really letting yourself feel that, and then going to your boss and saying, can I do that again? I actually felt really good doing that, and really fostering those things that you're good at. I think hanging around with people who make you feel good can build your confidence. Those are some things I would say, practical tips.
So how did you have the confidence to start creating on TikTok and show up as so authentically yourself? Because that was really your superpower, and you were kind of doing it before anyone else was. Like, people were dancing and it was awesome and so entertaining, but you were like one of the first, really.
I honestly wish it was thought out and that I had some strategy. I'm going to be real with you guys. I thought we were all going to die, like every single person on planet Earth. And I couldn't get home to my family. I was living alone. I was going absolutely stir crazy. I wasn't seeing anyone. Obviously, none of us were. But I was like really isolated because I had just moved to LA and I like had 2 friends. And I literally thought we were all going to die. So I thought, oh, I don't care what people think of me, which is in a way, that's what confidence is, right? So it was coming from a weird place, but yes, I did have the confidence. I just thought we were all going to be, the Last of Us style, eradicated from Earth.
So, well, like, the next time we're not feeling confident, maybe that.
Just think about zombies.
So, on that note of confidence, I want to talk about dating, okay? So this is clearly, it's your forte, okay? People come to you for dating advice. So I want to ask you about how women can be more open in settings to be approached by men. Like, how do you start going on dates? Because I know people are out here, like, maybe they're not the most comfortable with dating apps. So what's your approach?
Look, I think the dating apps are in a really tough spot right now. Like, if you are feeling so fatigued and so fed up with dating apps, you are not alone. I think that at their start, it was an incredible idea. It was supposed to be a tool that, helps you meet more people. And now we're at a place where it's kind of just like an endless validation cycle. People just want the hit. They just want someone to say, oh, like, yeah, that person thinks I'm hot. Cool, I can go to bed now. I have no intention of talking to them. So where does that leave us? Well, firstly, I think that if you're going to be on the apps, and look, I do it very intentionally. I don't mindlessly scroll. Like, I don't do the thing where it's like on Sunday you're hungover and you wake up and you're like, fuck, I'm single. I got to go on the apps. I'm like on my couch for 10 hours being like, he's ugly, whatever. I do it for like 10 minutes a day. I go on, I do my swiping, I finish out any conversations, and I shut it off again until the next day. It's a tool. It's not Instagram. Think of it like Uber. You pull it out when you want to get something, like you want to date, right? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, and we were just speaking to this right before we started, I believe there is going to be a massive resurgence of IRL in every realm, in terms of people doing things, going out, dating. Like, I think that's all coming back because I think we're all collectively exhausted by the internet right now, and people like we're remembering before COVID, like, oh, we would actually have more fun offline than online. And I really believe that people miss that. So when you go out with friends, you know, a lot of girls call or write to me and they say, I'm not meeting any guys when I go out. And I'm like, okay, how many girls are you going out with? They're like, I'm just going out with like my closest 14 friends. And I'm like, okay. So you and a small army is like hanging out at the bar, and you want some like little Brad or Chad to come up to you and tap you on the shoulder and go, hi, can I buy you a drink? Like, you look intimidating, even if you don't feel intimidating. So go pick one friend, go to a bar where you would want to be taken. So like, think of a bar where you would love to go on a date and chill at the bar and see with your friend. Maybe someone comes up to you, maybe they won't, but this is your best shot to meet someone while you're out. And also have open body language. Like, if you're sitting like this at the bar, like head down in your martini, that's giving closed off language. Like, smile, look around, like make eye contact with people. But I really do think that we're going more IRL, and I'm glad about it.
What are your tips for going up to a guy?
I really prefer to be direct. Like, I think maybe it's that I'm in my 30s and I am actually more confident now, but I think it's just fun to go up and be like, hi, how's your night going? And just smile and just see what happens. It's, you know, I don't like a pickup line. Obviously, those are cheesy, but just kind of go and say what up and see how it goes.
Tips for a first date?
I think that first dates are kind of just vibe checks. Like, if you have a dog, it's literally the equivalent of a dog sniffing another dog's butts and just being like, what is up? Do we vibe with each other? People put so much pressure on first dates to be these like magical, amazing things. And the point is, like, it's literally just seeing, do you want to, like, first date is drinks, whatever, walk, coffee. It's just like, do we want to spend more time together? So I would just say, think about how you feel when you leave the first date. Like, what words would you use to describe your state? Would you be like, wow, I feel really exhausted and I feel really tired and like not funny? Then, okay, you shouldn't go on a second date. If you feel sparkly, if you feel like sexy, if you feel intrigued, then go on a second date. But it's not an interview and it's not a performance. Also very important, because I did a lot of that in my 20s.
How do you not put pressure on yourself? Because I think what I take away when you talk about this is that it should still be fun, you know? So how did you start to remove the pressure from yourself? Because you were saying that, like, you know, when you were 25, for example, it was something you'd worry about. When did that go away? Was it something you actively worked on?
I think part of it is just age, and you kind of realize, oh, like, whatever version of this you believe in, but like, we plan and God laughs. And I think that there's so much power in that, because I was like, I'm such a control freak. I'm so anal. Like, I literally need to control everything. But then the older I get, the more I'm like, ugh, I do all this planning and it doesn't ever pan out that way. So you kind of just have to learn that yourself and try to put less pressure on yourself, because we try so hard and then it never pans out how we want anyway. So just work hard, be nice to people, follow your curiosity, and have fun.
What are red flags for you when you first start seeing someone?
I think that, you know, I see a lot of like funny red flags on, you know, social media, like, oh my God, like his sheets are ugly or whatever. But I think for me, the red flags are like more internal. Like, I really think that especially women don't pay attention enough to how we feel in the early stages of dating. We're so busy analyzing this new like creature in our life that we don't stop and think like, wait, has he asked me like how my job is going because I told him it was stressful last week, and like, by the way, he didn't remember? Like, little things like that, those are actually the really important red flags. Or say you're dating someone and you come home and you're like, wow, I read the most interesting article when I was at work today. And if he's not like, oh, that's cool, what was it about? If he's like, oh, that's cool, like that, the difference between those two is the difference between you being like super happy 20 years down the line and being super fucking miserable 20 years down the line, in my opinion.
I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was this guy going off about, like, you know how women will go home after like a clothing haul or like shopping, even like groceries, and we'll go to our boyfriends. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. And you're so excited. Like, I call it my fashion show, so I'll like put everything on and I'll make Nish look, and then he'll be like, yeah, I like this one or not. And I feel like your guy has to match your energy.
No, that I saw that TikTok too, and then this creator stitched it, and she was like, it's so sad, his response. If you don't know what we're talking about, essentially it was a TikTok where she was showing, what was she showing? Oh, it was a lemon. This creator grew like this really crazy lemon, and it was like, it looked like in an alien. It was so cool. And she was showing him, she's like, oh my God, look at this or something. And he was like, like literally grunted. And it's like, even if you don't care about lemons, it's your partner, and that should be be enough to make you care. And I'm very into that stuff. Like that stuff really, really matters to me. I don't want anybody to grunt at me in the future. So I don't know.
No grunting energy, honestly. Absolutely not. So one of the reasons we thought it was going to be so fun for you to be a part of this launch was actually because...
I love to shit. Just kidding.
Okay, well, you know how you've talked about the fact that when you're on a first trip with a guy, you go...
have to shit in the back.
Yeah. Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh my God. So listen.
We had to go here.
After all of my women's empowerment confidence bullshit, this bitch will not shit in the house with a guy. Like I can't at all. And if I go on a trip with a guy, like I'm in the lobby, baby. Every morning I'm calling my mom, and I can't do it with a guy around. Like, I'm sorry. I can't. So yeah.
Honestly, it's pretty fucking real.
It's the one thing that I need separation.
Privacy.
Yeah, I need privacy.
A healthy amount of privacy.
And it's like, I put my whole self online. The one thing I can't do is hear the person that I'm having sex with have me hear me shit. You know, like it's just like, I just need one thing for myself, you know?
Okay, I wouldn't be the co-founder of Arrae if I didn't bring up wellness. So I know you're a hot girl with stomach issues.
Of course.
Do you have any tips for things that help?
I mean, Arrae, obviously. Gosh. Like stress. Okay, have you guys read that book called The Mind-Gut Connection? It's an amazing book, and it really taught me a lot about how connected our brains are with our stomachs. So I try to be really mindful of my stress, because I feel like it's a direct cause of like stomach pain, stomach issues. It's a really cool book. I would highly recommend it. And just like knowing yourself, sounds kind of cheesy, but like just noting down like what foods make you feel gross, or like, you know, that you get constipated or whatever, and then just take Arrae.
Wellness tips for when you travel, because that I feel like just throws me off of my routine. Like we literally just got back after 7 weeks of traveling, and I'm exhausted.
I know, and I travel a lot. I always take off your makeup before the plane. I'm going on a red eye actually after this, and I'm gonna fully take everything off, get in comfy clothes, compression socks I'm very into, they're fantastic, lot of water. Honestly, I if it's a really long haul flight, I try not to eat on the plane, because you think about all the it just gets stuck in there. I don't drink on flights. The one time I don't drink, I know, congratulations, TINX. And try to get movement when you land. Go for a walk immediately.
Do you have non-negotiables that you do even when you are on a trip? Like, are there certain things? Because I think the thing is with wellness, a lot of people we put too much pressure on ourselves, okay? Like, my morning routine has to be 6 hours long. No, it doesn't. Like, just have one thing. So what's yours?
I always need to walk. I call them rich mom walks in my community, and no matter where I am, I go for a little walk, even if it's 20 minutes just to get a coffee or whatever. I really need that. I feel like my limbs aren't stretched out if I don't do a little walk. So I always do that. But I really agree with you. I mean, like last year I was so into my morning and nighttime routine, and even on my podcast I did like a whole fucking episode about my morning routine. And you know what, this January I wasn't about it. This year I'm having a really hard time getting out of bed, and like the only thing that I'm doing is like my cold plunge and like my journaling, and that's really all I can manage. I didn't do the 12-step thing, and it's like, that's okay. It ebbs and flows where you are in your life. You have to figure out the things that really make you feel good and stick to them, and the rest, it's okay.
Yeah, I think just being flexible is a really, really big part of wellness. Like, I think that putting so much pressure on ourselves, it shouldn't be dogmatic. Like,
I agree.
It sucks the soul away from you, you know? Talk to me about the rich mom phenomena. I gotta ask, because how did it even come about? It's it's incredible.
I honestly was just dicking around one day on TikTok, and I was like, you know what I wanted to do is make a starter pack for rich moms in different areas. And I was like, everyone will think this is weird, no one will get it. And then it kind of blew up, and it's been fun. I don't know, it's half satire, half aspirational, and it's just a little bit of fun. I need to do one. I haven't done one in a long time. It's kind of like, it's weird now. There's so much pressure to make them so good. I'm like, oh God, I need to make it really good. I was just literally fucking around the first time I did it. But that's how things always start. You know, the good things are always the off the cuff things. And then all of a sudden you're 4 years later and people are like, when is the next rich mom? And you're like, ah. So.
It's the guides that you have to go along. I feel like it's a mini guide to like whatever area you're covering. It's like, how do you even know so much about any area?
Well, I love a wreck. Like, I am truly, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing being an influencer. And sometimes I'm like, no, I was born to be an influencer. Because I love a wreck. I'm the type of person, like, I won't enter a public bathroom if I haven't read a Yelp review about it. Like, I love to know everything about everything. Like, I don't want to know the restaurant in Mexico City. I want you to tell me the time of day to go, what I should say to the chef, what's on the secret menu, and like where I should go get dessert after. Like, that's my level of specificity that I require, and that's what I like to give. So I just like, I don't know, I always just love, and I love to travel. So I just kind of know a lot about, you know, and I also love rich people. So again, kind of a confluence of all my interests.
Okay, before we move on to audience questions, my last question from me is, how do you reset when you've been out of your routine for a while?
I love this question because I get so many panicked DMs and emails from girls being like, oh my God, it was a, you know, I was on a bachelorette and like, I think that I'm like deformed now because I ate chips and margaritas for 3 days. And I'm like, I've been there. I live there. Okay. Like, we've all had that panic where you come back from like a girls trip or a holiday weekend and you're like, my body is not a temple. My body is a trash can and I am having a mentee bee. But here's the thing. It only takes 3 days to feel in control again. 3 days. So this is what you do. You get back, your Sunday night, you're like shell shocked. You're like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh my God. You literally on a piece of paper write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever the days are. You say, don't like try to work out a lot. That's the worst, is when people are like, I booked double Soul Cycle tomorrow morning. I'm like, that will feel terrible after you've been having margaritas the whole weekend. Gentle walk the first day, maybe a light workout the second day, walk the third day, commit to a few things, like commit to drinking 2 liters of water a day, commit to cooking one of the nights, commit to having a salad or something that makes you feel good for lunch. And by the third day, you'll be like, oh my God, I'm fine. I'm fine. Nothing bad happens on a bender. Trust me, I've been on literally a bender for the past 33 years. It's fine. You can get out of it. It's all right.
This is very real. Okay, so prior to us recording out, I'd asked the audience to send in questions, not you guys, so you guys are going to have your turn right after I ask these, but I have a few here. So number 1 is actually the new friends one, which I've already asked. Number 2 actually is, how do you keep things fun in a relationship after the honeymoon phase is over?
That's a good question. Well, I think it honestly has a lot to do with what we were speaking about before, which is like having a genuine like interest in your partner, and what they're interested in is so sexy to me, and it makes you be so invested in them, and it draws you closer together. I also think, and I'm bad at this because I tend to get like so close and so casual so fast, but I do think like date nights and keeping traditions alive and still dressing up for each other and carving out time for each other in a real way, not just in a way like, oh, like let's just get takeout like every night this week, is so important. Like saying, oh, let's go do this thing together. Let's go to this art exhibit together. Let me take you to this restaurant I heard about. Those things keep the romance alive.
Love. Can you share your worst date story?
Oh my gosh, there have been so many. I mean, the classic one is like, I was in San Francisco and this guy flew out to see me. By the way, whenever anyone flies out to see you, it's always a disaster. Like, you get so excited, you like get your wax, you're so pumped up, and then they get there and you're like, wait, I literally hate you. But anyway, this guy came and I was so nervous. And so we go wine tasting. Fuck. And we're like, I'm like, this guy's really annoying. Like, I don't know, like, where's he gonna sleep? Not in my house, Jesus. And we sit down to dinner, and he was pretty drunk, and I was pretty drunk at this point. And he looked at me and he goes, "You don't have much in the chest department, do you?"
Stop.
I swear to fucking God. And I'm drunk and I start sobbing. The table next to us hears. They're like, "You're an asshole." Like, it was just the entire restaurant. Tosca Cafe, by the way, shout out Tosca. They really had my back in that one. I run out, like, he's crying. Like, he was like, "No, it's funny. It's like Larry David." I'm like, "You're not Larry David. You're just some random dude." So that was pretty bad. Didn't see him again, funnily enough.
Oh my. Okay, I'd be hard pressed to find something that beats that.
Yeah.
That's a good story, though.
It was a good story, yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for coming. This was awesome. You guys brought really good energy. It made me not nervous. And thanks, TINX, for being such a good interviewee.
And thanks you to all of you.